Ladies and gentlemen, comrades, welcome to, I believe this is episode 21 of the Quamfy Show. And to start off with the sad news that this is the last Quamfy Show in the sub capacity as we've been doing for the last year and a half, 2 years. When we started with the English Quamfy Show, we started 3 years ago with the Dutch, right after all-time high. And yeah, this is going to be a Christmas special, but it's also going to be a goodbye episode. So we brought the entire Quamfy Show crew together. Both Niels and Shield been helping on the back end to be our sounding board and provide, in the case of Shield, with all the graphic stuff for the show, which is super awesome. So we're going to have some conversations about where we've been, where we're heading, show some highlights, and go through our analyses of at least the last year, but maybe even the years before. See what changed, see what actually stayed the same, which is a lot, and make a little bit of a guesstimation where we're going. Bitcoin is around 100,000 euros. It just dipped below that, so we are all very, very sad. Not really though. But yeah, we're going to start with some market stuff. We're going to go to the predictions. Then we're going to do some throwbacks and look ahead. And then somewhere towards the end, we'll disclose what will probably, maybe, possibly, hypothetically, could still be releasing in the future. We'll have to see. Of course, because this is still the Quamfy Show. Our word means nothing. But yeah, thank you so much for being here, and let's see how everybody else is doing. Niels, Shield, Tim, first one to speak. Who?
Shall I kick off? No, it's
that is so much fun. That always works.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Let me kick off. Yeah, last week in the Dutch episode, we indeed announced that it was going to be our final episode in Dutch in our 2 weekly program where we post an episode every 2 weeks, and it kind of coincides with the Christmas period, which is coming. The holidays are here, and it's also kind of the end of the 3rd season right now. So we were like, okay, we have multiple options of what we can do. But yeah, Jarno is moving into a different era of his life, I guess. He's really busy. Yeah, me personally, it's kind of different for me. I've settled right now. Everything is kind of okay with me, but still, we just didn't really feel like going for a 4th season where we will probably have to do stuff over and over again. And we're also kind of getting lucky with the market right now. Bitcoin is over 100K in euros and in dollars. So we are kind of coinciding with the bull market and a possible peak in the bull market. And we just have the idea that if things go down again, we will have to repeat the entire process once again of beating FUDs, explaining everything to newcomers. We didn't really feel that way. So Quant hasn't really reached all-time high just yet, but it might go very quickly from here. And it just feels like we're stopping at the right moment.
Yeah, if everybody even remotely did what we quote unquote not financial advised, right? DCA on the way down and just hold until a certain point in the future. Most people should be in the black by now, more or less, right?
Yeah.
We started with prices. What was that like? 150, something like that, 200?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So somewhere around where we are right now. But yeah, like Tim said, so many people joined during the green candle phase. Didn't know what was what, and there were so many questions. And as you will see later on when we go through our episodes, is that there's a trend, right? When people join, knowledge within the community goes down relatively, and that means that there's a lot more fun and a lot more discussion. And yeah, we one, don't want to be parrots, and two, we don't want to feel quote unquote guilty or responsible and so on for new people joining. And I know for myself that I have that, that I feel that I need to support and help um, people stay up to date, etc. It's just bandwidth. I'm not willing to spare anymore, which is fine because we have a very nice database. There's a lot of stuff that is pretty much timeless, as you will see later on in the episode. So yeah, Tim, nice addition. So
Yeah, we just amassed a ton of episodes, a ton of data that you can all go through. You can just rewatch it. And it's kind of timeless. It's evergreen content in a way. And sure, some things have changed over the years, but as you will see in this episode, a lot of things have stayed the same. So yeah, enough about me, enough about you. What about our guests? Niels, how are you?
Yeah. Well, great to be here again. I think, it's too bad you guys are stopping, but on the other hand, I fully understand the reasoning behind it. To do that, I was lucky enough, or privileged enough, to say to be part of the show a few times, and basically doing a lot of technical stuff. I remember an episode I did some stuff about BGP, and of course, those really fundamental discussions, but I could also figure out that a lot of
Border Gate Protocol, right? Was
There was a border gateway protocol, which was based on, if you look at ZP, stuff like that.
I see. I see Tim's face, and it was the same as when we were recording that. It was an episode, and it took like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and 30 minutes in, Tim was already like zoning out, his eyes glazed over.
I vividly remember. Yeah.
But I think, Tim, you mentioned that those episodes are evergreen, and it's a great reference, I think, and part of what Quant makes it so interesting, well, in my opinion, I always say to people when we're talking about crypto, and with colleagues and people who don't know shit about crypto and they only know Bitcoin, it's in my opinion, all crypto, 99% is shit, and 1% is Quant, because that really solves the problem. And that is because it's focused on utility, on the fundamentals, which are sound and good and are based on stuff that actually works. And that makes the project interesting for me to invest money in, basically. That's what it sometimes boils down to. But also the technical part is very interesting. But okay, moving back to the show. It's again too bad that you guys are quitting, but it's totally understandable why that is, and hopefully when something important comes along, maybe price technical, but also maybe fundamental technically, we can at least how you say that, get the show back on for an episode, or maybe to check on what's going on. So that
Definitely, that's how I feel about it anyway. It's kind of up to Jarno in that respect, because I just have to talk. Jarno is here to do all the other things, get the editing done. For me, it's easier than for Jarno. I can just yap and people will follow. But Jarno has to do actual things. And Schild has to do some designing as well. So, Schild, how are you?
Yeah,
How do you feel about having been our designer for so long?
proud, honored to be a part of the Quamfy Show. So yes, my voice is not that great, a little bit flu, illness. But yeah, it was amazing 3 years, almost 3 years, I think.
Yeah, we've been here more than 3 years.
To be involved with you guys and making designs of the show, it was great. And it's too bad it's gonna end, but totally understandable, like Niels said.
Yeah, it's actually in English, it's been a bit less than 3 years because we started in February, but for the Dutch episodes, we started end of November 2021, so it's been over 3 years right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a lot of stuff to look back into, and I'm not sure what Jarno's planning is, but I thought we were going to look into the predictions we did at the start of this year, or are we going somewhere else?
No. But in the meantime, I was looking for the BGP thing.
Oh yeah,
they have so many
for your context, we've been kind of going through bits and pieces of previous episodes, but then Jarno's computer is like, he has 40 tabs open, and sometimes the video randomly starts playing, and then we can't tell whether it's Jarno telling us something right now or that's it, or if it's a previous episode.
Yeah, that's so fun. That's so fun. Last week also.
Yeah, we had the same shenanigans last week, and apparently there's this one video on our front page on YouTube, and every time you open that page, that video start playing, and you're like, shut up, and you quit the video. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the trailer that all you guys see, I think, as returning subscribers or not, whatever. But yeah, then we hear each other talking, and when Tim's talking, I'm like, hey, what, dude? What are you on about? I'm not saying anything, but yeah, there's something running in the background. It's hilariously fun. Anyway, let's take this here, because right now something's never changed. As you can see here at the top of the screen, there is more or less some preparation and so on. But yeah, it's Quamfy Show stuff. So what we're seeing right now is the Bitcoin chart. Oh, Bitcoin just took a dump when we started recording. We jinxed it.
Yeah.
We said we stopped. Bam! And it went from fucking 99,503 euros to 97,536. It's a massive dump.
Interestingly, I'm looking at the Quamfy Lounge right now, and someone posted that the Fed cuts interest rates by so many points. And it's always funny because when interest rates are cut, it usually means the price will rise. When in this case it drops. So I'm always puzzled by
maximum fear.
Exactly how this works with trading, crypto, blah blah blah. I mean, it's.
Look at this. This is 91 billion volume, and here it's 94 billion volume ish. So if you have roughly 3 billion in volume, arguably 2 billion, not even. Look at from here to there. Then you can create like an avalanche. That's kind of what it is. So if you have maybe if you have like a billion in Bitcoin with some friends and you have some social media presence,
okay,
you can easily get this on the right time, dump price, buy back for 5K cheaper, and you'll fucking gain a ton of money.
Okay.
Yeah. Future of money, people.
Sure.
Awesome.
Yeah. But in those 2 minutes that you guys were talking, you see a lot of recurring themes that I've been seeing the past couple of years. First, you started with like the interest rate. It was the interest rates, right? What you were talking about.
Yeah.
So they lower them, and then usually that means that the market goes up, but then it doesn't. And that's one of the things we've talked about a lot. Then everyone anticipates one thing, and then the opposite happens.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about a dump of, what is it, like 2%?
It's already
we've been telling this story so many times, and I just don't really react to it anymore. It's just the usual.
But with Bitcoin right now, we're at a point where a measly 3% is 3K in price.
Yeah, that's insane. That's
which is pretty bananas. I mean, back in the day, 3% for Bitcoin, where Bitcoin was what 10K ish, that it was But now, if you hold 10 Bitcoin, you lose a year worth of purchasing power in a third world country, like 30,000 euros.
Yeah, exactly.
Inflation.
I remember the days where Bitcoin was below 10K, even below 5K. And some of you in here remember it even earlier.
Yeah.
We've come a long way.
What I was surprised about is that fucking XRP dumped out already again. It was actually well over 2.5 euros. I have no idea. See right here.
Wow. Yeah.
2.60 euros when I got into crypto, and I got tipped my first crypto thing that was XRP. It was 23 cents or something, and it was like this dude who was absolutely too fucking retarded to tie his own shoelaces. Man, if you want to invest, you gotta get XRP. You gotta get XRP. And yeah, 30 minutes of research and one phone call made pretty clear that, well, that's probably never going to happen. But it did 10x since then, right? And Quant was like 4 back then. So I'm still on the right side of history for now. But this is troubling. Anyway, not a XRP show. Or do any of you guys... Shield, didn't you used to have XRP in the past?
No. Verge XVG.
Yeah, Verge. That was the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, there was also this other
Long time ago with Justin Sinnerwerk.
With the very first episode we did with you, it might have been in Dutch though. I don't think
Dutch.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure it was in Dutch, but I remember we were talking with you about like the very early stages of the crypto market, and you've been in it for quite a while, and you were mentioning coins and tokens. I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
I think I know quite a bit, but I just didn't have a clue. So
nowadays, because the tokens that are now on the market, they will not exist in a few years, most of them.
yeah, true.
Cycluses.
Oh no, Quant is dumping back down.
Yeah, Quant is dumping. It's down 10% on the 24 hours. On the 14 days, we're down 25%. We're on the 30 days, we're up 40.
40%.
So right now we're probably testing the 100 again, something like that. Likely. Well, yeah, not TA. But yeah, Quant right now, there was position 81 again. There was a guy in Quamfy Lounge like an hour or two ago. It was like, oh, we lost another 9 million. I was like, who gives a fuck, dude? Truly, get your head out of the fucking 1 minute chart. But yeah, this is going to be another point of FUD, and everybody will need reassuring again because everybody forgets what is on the back end, right? So to say. But yeah, it's yeah, at least we're up on the year, which is nice, 14%. So we can say our goodbyes with
It's not too bad, really. I think
that's not super bad. What is actually bad is our predictions. Let's see what we have here.
Let's go there. Yeah.
Yeah, because
how did we do?
Let's see. Tim and I made some predictions for the 6 months and the 12 months. Yes, this is in Dutch, but this means foresight, literally translated.
We did it in English as well. There are English predictions because we recorded 2 episodes. There was one Dutch prediction show and one English prediction show. We've done it both.
Yeah, but we only have the Dutch. We only have the Dutch.
I am pretty sure we have both.
Can I finish? Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah. we made these prediction things and we added.
Okay.
April 24, April 25 in English, and so on. So let's just start. Yeah. So we had the 6 months projections and the 12-month projections. The first one was what's going to be the H1, H2 meme bandwagon, and what is our shitcoin portfolio. Well, Tim's H1 guess was Tau, Link, Uni, Orca, Ample, VXV, Ordi, and Bonk, and mine was Neo, Tau, and Check. Where is our H2? Because that is not in here.
No, we made it on Coingecko itself.
Oh yeah, we put that in Coingecko. That is right. Oh, yeah. we can have a quick look. Let's see. Portfolio, because Tim H1. We started with a blank slate at H2. But for H1, Tim is in a total profit of 5,766.
Not bad.
Which is up 56.4%. Yeah.
They killed Willy.
Yeah, they had to put it down. It was ground up into sushi. Ordi swap is down like 96%, which is also not ideal. Ample fourth is still very neutral, which is also kind of the point of that entire thing, right? In the early beginning, Ample fourth, the more people joined in, the more there was a discrepancy, the more coins were made, and the wealthier you got. Some crazy shit like that. But as soon as more people join and there forms an equilibrium, and then price should be stable-ish esque. So this is to be expected. Not very much additional adoption. Yeah, vector space more or less neutral. Don't know what that does anymore either. It's something with AI, but yeah, there's so much radio silence. Then we have Bonk, which is obviously a meme. He's up 143% on that, 100% up on Tau, 80% up on Chainlink, and Uniswap, which we thought was a good idea to get, because when bull runs begin, people go to Uniswap to trade on Ethereum, and then Uni is a thing, and well, then you make money, which he does, which is pretty good. My portfolio is probably very, very shit because we bought Neon at the absolute top. Yeah, Neon is still down. I'm 5,000 in loss. So if you would have combined Tim and my portfolio, we would still be up a bit, but we didn't.
That's kind of interesting that if you combine our portfolios, that we would be
I went
break even.
Yeah, I went with the sensible, focused portfolio-ish.
Sensible.
For Neon, I bought Neon right with my own money, but only 2 weeks before that. And what you then see that happen is I bought before this, but 2 weeks later, I bought it for the Quamfy Show here. And yeah, from that onwards, I mean, it's still not good, but that was fucking bad. So yeah, timing is everything. Don't buy the fucking top, ladies and gentlemen, unless it's Quant and you're my extra liquidity. Thank you very much.
This is just not very good. You can say everything you want, but
that was so funny that actually nobody dared to laugh for that. There was this meme today, something about people using very dark humor are actually more prone to Alzheimer's or some shit like that. I was like, dude, the entire fucking Dutch Marine Corps and ton of my friends will all get Alzheimer's, and they knew that from age 20. But yeah. So portfolio shit. Only thing that did well was Tau. Check D is still also. Oh, it is at 5 cents now. Also strange. Sorry, guys. It's also a pretty cool project. Any of you guys holding checked?
Nope.
I do.
Yes, I do.
Checked actually ripped too. Oh, that was a year ago. Shit.
Yeah, it was a year ago. It was the November rally last year.
8 cents and then down, boy. All right. Yeah. Checked is that a keeper for you, Shield?
Yes.
For me, it's as well.
What are your considerations for keeping that?
It's in line of project team development use cases, maybe similar to Quant in that perspective. Yeah, so it's in that side of my portfolio.
Yeah, but do you expect any big adoption swings in the coming months, years?
Well, they're now in fully in a merge with Doc. Quite interesting. Some huge partners coming up. European wallet coming next year. Involvement in leg chain. A lot of progress from Checked. Yeah, interesting to follow.
Nice. So if you were not giving me a financial advice, would you say that I should maybe flip a few QNT at all-time high into Check D, maybe?
Possible. Depends on the price of Check D at that time. Yeah.
What would be your price target? Big bull, ballpark, no strings attached.
$1 easily in the peak ball.
Okay, so that's a 25x from here.
Something like that. With
Interesting.
the right news and developments, maybe $3, something like that.
Okay.
It's a very low market cap coin, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of really small. It's also the reason why
Like
I'm
50
keeping
million
it.
or something.
50 million. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, let's take it to 1 billion market cap, peeps. Let's go. Okay, So let's
And
dive.
almost all of their tokens are in circulation, so that's also very interesting.
I didn't know that. That's a very, very nice detail.
Okay, then we're going to this.
And a burning mechanism, so it's deflationary.
Oh, nice. That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Then we have the
H2 portfolio. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Tim is up roughly 2K. That's 20%. We started with another 10K for H2. Tim got Pepe, Geek, Bitcoin, BitTensor, Open, and Yo-Yo. Yeah. Geek and Bitcoin and BitTensor and Pepe are all up. Yo-Yo and Open are down. All in all, not too bad, I think.
No, yeah, but it's definitely a worse performance than the other one.
Yeah, but the other one was underwater for like fucking
No,
8 months.
no. It hasn't been underwater at all. In fact, I went up to 20K, and then it went down to 10K again, and then now I'm back at 15, 16K. So in euro, but still,
but you were underwater for so fucking long. Here, look at this. You were up a bit at 18K here.
Yeah, but that's what I said, and then I went back to 10K, and then it went up again. So I haven't really been under. I kind of break even.
Yeah, roughly from May to November, it was break even to underwater.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Your portfolio has actually been underwater considerably.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, but I thought it was that worse, but these numbers now, looking at what it was for most of the year here, are pretty similar, because here you were at 10, here you were at 11, here you were at 12, here you were at 11, and here you were at 9, 9, 9, 9, 7, 6, 9, 9, 9. So that's what I meant with that's pretty similar to the different portfolio.
Yeah.
This will all pick up a lot more, but yeah, is what it is, but it's a lot better than mine probably. Yeah, higher and DGen took a little bit of a dump the last couple of weeks. I still hold those IRL. Also really low market caps. Yeah, so I have QNT, check the higher, Open, DGen, and Yo-Yo. For a higher, for example, that's still a really low market cap. What is it right now? 20 million. This has a lot of traction, and yeah, was up there back to the 5 cents in November 14th. It's correcting now a bit together with a lot of other things. Interesting structure here for what it's worth. I think that will still do well. DGen might as well. Might also do well. It's like 10x higher market cap, but this is on base used a lot. You can also see that it reacts similarly to a lot of other coins, right now, compared to what you saw in higher. Again, for what it's worth. See that's different things going on. But yeah. And Quant, yeah. So yeah, these are our gambles now, right? So in line with the question from here, the foresights, that was Tau Link, Uni, blah blah, Neon, Tau check, and that is now Quant checked higher. I went again moderately conservative, right, with the Quant checked and the Open, all tokens with real utility and 3 memes. And Tim kind of followed suit. With Bitcoin, BitTensor, Open, and Geek apparently also does things. Do any of you hold this, Niels or Shield?
No. I'm as maximalist as you can have, as you have them. So
100% QNT, yeah.
Yeah. Some ETH, for some transactional stuff, but yeah.
Blasphemy.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You need to eat if you want to do stuff.
Yeah. The problem with this, of course, is these are basically how do you say that, simulated portfolios, but you have some in real life. So the problem is I don't have the patience, nor the time, nor the energy to keep up with all the developments. And I'm just very happy with QNT, and I think it's too much a gamble casino when doing other stuff. I mean, I think if you look at CheckD or maybe the AI coins, in some way or another, those are pretty, as in there's some fundamental stuff going on there, which you can say, okay, I will base my decision on to invest in them, but the rest is all, nah, I don't think so.
It's
and
interesting.
it's fine. I mean, if you want to do that and you have stuff to spare and you want to do something with that, maybe a trade back or a swing back or whatever, that's fine. But it's not for me. So yeah.
It's interesting you say that, because what we've seen in previous markets, and Shield can speak to that later if he wants to, is that most of the real gains are made in only like a couple of days, within 1 week, arguably over 2 or 3 weeks in a year, right? So here, let me really quickly share my screen to illustrate what I mean.
Well, it's quite simple to explain. You want to take a position and stay in position for that few times. The market goes very quick up.
Exactly. That was where I was heading, because this from here to there, right, is like this long leg that you see here on the screen. I'm on the Bitcoin chart right now. This is November 15th. This is November 11th, November 10th, 8th. This is like a week's worth of gains. And that it went from 60 to 100, more or less. It's a little bit longer, right? December 18th, November 4th. So that's like 6 weeks. But within those 6 weeks, you have to decide somewhere. And when we get really in banana zone territory, you will see shit like this, same as with Quant back in the day, within a couple of days. And if you miss that, then you're fucked. And these are the quote unquote bigger coins. But if you go into the true memes, then you need to be glued to your screen more or less to catch like the 20% from the top. I think generally accepted is that if you can get like within 20% before or after the absolute cycle peak, then you're really gaming. But yeah, I know Shield has some experience. Can you speak to that?
Well, it's almost impossible to time that 20%, because you don't know where it's gonna end. But the most important is that you are already in position when it's happening. So don't make emotional calls when it is happening. So the best practice is to get the target price in your head, calculate what amount of money you want to get out of it, and work towards something like that.
Exactly. Take some lifestyle chips away.
Yeah. And so to tie this to what Neil said, right? He doesn't have the time, he doesn't have the interest, etc. If you're like Nils, and I am more or less the same, but I'm a little bit more on my phone. So I check all my meme coins every day. I don't check for graphs and shit, but I just look at, okay, what is it worth right now? What do I want it to be worth? Is it the same as it was yesterday, or is it going up? And if it's going up, I'm just going to look a little bit deeper and see if I decide to take some cream off. But yeah, if you don't want to do that, that is perfectly fine and understandable and very clever. I will be out of that shitcoin circus too after this cycle, most likely, if I don't fuck it up, lol. And I will also go like 99% to QNT and CheckD, etc. again, because eventually those tokens, they actually have a shelf life, right? For the Doom preppers among us, the Quant and the CheckD and some others, those are like your freeze-dried goods and your canned goods that you can then later barter with that will hold value or accrue more value even, which is obviously the goal. Whilst all the meme coins and stuff are your perishables, yeah, like vegetables and fruit and all that stuff, which is really nice while they're in season, but eventually, yeah,
They'll vanish.
they'll spoil if you don't eat them in time, or even just forget about it, and they'll just be mush on your floor, which will inevitably happen. They'll peak and they'll burn out. So yeah, good addition. So now you're up to date with your biology and your survival prepping as well. Welcome to the Quamfy Show. Thank you very much. That escalated quickly. Okay, so when Quant all-time high? That was the question. And Tim said April 2024.
Can you share the screen again?
Oh, did I turn that off? Oh, sorry. That's why we have Tim here. I recorded an episode last year on my own. I wore the headset, but the mic was also on the headset and not on this. So I recorded an hour-long episode, and you only saw my jaw move, but there was no sound, which was funny as fuck. So
I remember that.
yeah.
And I also remember your voice memo after that.
Yeah, I have a couple of very legendary voice memos. Maybe they'll surface one day. I don't know. Don't. But yeah.
Okay, when
yeah,
QNT all-time high was the question, and then I made two predictions. First one in the Dutch episode, and then one a week later, because I changed my mind quite regularly. Last year I said April 2024 in the Dutch one, and then in the English one I said April 2025. So
yeah,
I switched the year.
And the 6-month and the 12-month projections were made in January.
Yeah, they were made on the 2nd of January, like really at the start of the year.
Exactly, and apparently we didn't do a July update of this, because there's obviously March 2024 for Autumn High. We haven't
updated this. No, I stayed my course.
But why is there no prediction for me after? Because H1 ended in July, on July 1st, and after March 2024 there's no, because obviously All-Time High wasn't met in March 2024. That was last year.
What you called.
That was last year. So apparently we didn't update this for some reason.
That's weird. I think we didn't really update it. We just checked into it. We didn't really make any new predictions.
Okay.
We updated the portfolio, but we didn't update the predictions, because then you can always predict. Yeah, you said March 2024.
Yeah. So okay. How do you cross this? Is that Control C now? Doorhalen?
I don't know.
Jesus. You guys are all computer nerds. The fuck? How I mean, I know how to underline this.
Yeah, it's probably somewhere. If you use the dots, so you have like the taskbar where you say a bold, indent, and an underline. The dots on the end, the 3 dots below. So to the right, yeah, that one. And see if there's an option there to. No, that's not an option.
Okay. Anyway, doesn't matter. Predictions, all-time high. When will Quant reach all-time high?
Cool. I think it will be. Well, I think April 25 is an interesting one. That's also the one you had, Tim. I think that's an.
I'm still technically on track. It could very well happen. It's 4 months from now. I wouldn't be surprised.
And the reason is probably because there are some developments, and I'm not really aware of those developments. Just to be clear, I don't have any inside info or whatever. But I mean, 25 was mentioned by Gilbert, I think, in some way or another related to some projects. Also the ZP developments within the ITF are still ongoing. And of course, ITF is a very bureaucratic body, basically, where a lot of people need to have a say about certain stuff. But it seems to be on track. So I think that will be yeah, a point in time where the fundamentals will be reflected in the price. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Thank you. Shield, when?
Okay, it's pure speculation, of course, but
No.
I'm
Is it?
I'm gonna make a story out of it. Listen, so I think the peak ball will be around the summer of 25, but Quant is a lagger, and I'm thinking about now. Well, previous all-time high is September 21. So I'm thinking 4 times a year later, contract-wise, also very interesting. Gonna say September 25.
September 25, 4 years after the previous one.
Will that be the top or will that be the same all-time high?
That will be above all-time high.
Yeah, okay. So we will be like $450 in September 2025, according to you.
Minimal. Minimal all-time high. Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. 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 Okay.
This is interesting.
Yeah. I think we ran the numbers and back in 2020 the Bitcoin halving happened and Quant was around 4 back then, and 17 months later Quant was at all-time high at 423 something dollars. That was 17 months. So if we take that same amount of time from the last halving, that would put the peak that we had in 2021 in 2025 somewhere around July, August. But since 2021 was a stunted cycle, we only had like one of the peaks, and then we had like this burp, and then everything went down. Whilst usually you'd have another peak. So that peak would have been in November, which would have been 20 months roughly after Bitcoin halving in 2020. Looking at that, I think I'm with Tim, and I think April 2025 will be all-time high, and that will be like the 400-ish. I think the top will be around November. And I think it will be 10x from previous all-time high because it did that every single time. It went to 100x in those 17 months, right? From May 2020 to September 2021. And it went from 4 to 400. So I'm sticking to this. And Quant Nerd made a tweet with TA, and that is in crypto terms scientific evidence.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of irony, sarcasm, and a lot of everything there. But I believe it because it validates my thinking. Because this is the bias show. So yeah, I think the top will be November 2025. And that will be a 10x all-time high. So that will be roughly the 4K-ish. Let's fucking put it there. And we'll see, because I love being wrong. Because this is probably very conservative. I think there's a good chance that if you look at where we are in the cycle now, right? If you would compare quote unquote fractals, right, as in time periods from one period to another, right now the $100, 120 would be similar to our $40 stable coin for the people that were here. That was the time when I think also a lot of people were really fed up with everything. We went from €4 to like 12 euros between May and roughly January. Then we had like this like 4x to 40, and then we ranged for a while every meme coin was going up. If you compare the charts, that little burp, that hiccup, and then a little bit of ranging, that's where we are right now. So there's a very good chance that this will be a lot higher by then. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Okay. Wallet counts. Tim, did you pull that up on your screen in the meantime?
Oh no, I didn't. Was that a task for me?
No, not necessarily. But your
Okay,
Telegram is always a lot cleaner than mine, and you
Yeah,
can always
okay.
find it.
Let me. Okay, then give me 1 second.
Yeah, because in the meantime, I'll just talk. We did our projections as well for the wallet counts, right? H1, we thought Quant would be, Tim thought at 180k wallets, and H2 to be at 220k. And I thought we would be at 200k by the end of H1, which would have been July. And Tim thought and I thought for H2 right now we'd be at 400k, so plus 250k. Well, we couldn't be further from the truth, because I think the amount of wallets we have right now is the same or even lower than we had on January 2nd, right? From the top of my head, we're still at around roughly 150,000 wallets, which is super interesting because there's a lot of traffic going on. And you can also see, if you look at the amount of quant that is in the top 100 and the top 1,000, that the predictions that we made here, they will have changed, I think, substantially. I haven't kept up with this, but they will be in the same screenshot graph that Tim will probably be pulling up on his screen in a minute.
Yeah.
I think this was related to all kinds of consolidation which took place within wallets. I don't know, what's his name, Sebastian or Horntail? Yeah. One of those two did some.
For sure.
He's like the CSI investigator for wallets, in my opinion. Every time he does great things with that.
Yeah, Sebastian was that. Hungarian also did that, and right now we have the British guy doing that.
BYBIT or
no.
Oh, okay.
The Irish GH, I think.
No.
Well, anyways, there was some interesting consolidation going on within wallets, which apparently was coinciding with the rise and pumps we saw with Quant the last few months. So
yeah. So Tim,
I have it. Yeah, I can share my screen.
Yeah, go.
Okay. Well, right here, I'm always a bit scared. Okay, you see my screen?
Yes. Okay. So the amount of wallets, H1 would have been 180k for you, 200k for me. We cannot look back that far. It doesn't really matter anymore because we didn't make that. What is the wallet count right now? Yeah, we're 150,000.
It's 150,000. Yeah.
150,732. So both, Tim. Okay, let's look at it this way. On this January 2nd, there were 151,137 QNT wallets. So we actually had a decline of like 1,000 wallets, a little bit less, like 400. So we lost 400 wallets over the course of a year, which is interesting. So Tim and I were like
way off. Yeah, we were extrapolating. Is that a word? The trends of the past, and we really assumed, okay, it would be growing by that order of magnitude. But in fact, we completely stalled and even lost a couple of wallets, which is really interesting if you look at it.
Yeah. So, and if we look at the amount of QNT, the rank 100 and the rank 1000, the rank 100, according to Tim's predictions, would have been, let me see, Quant top 100 would have had 15,000. What do they have right now? 17,000. And the top 1,000, according to Tim, would have 1,200 QNT, and according to me, 1,150.
I said
Yes.
1,200, so
Yes.
I'm
So-
off by 1 QNT.
Tim is on the money there. I am off by 50. And our thoughts were, oh yeah, and the top 100 has 17,000 QNT now. That means that our projections were very conservative because the top 100 has been going up dramatically, whilst the top 1,000 we predicted would decrease dramatically. And both happened because there was a point where the top 1,000 had like 1,600 QNT or something like that. It was a pretty big number. And what you now see is that arguably exchange wallets, but also utility wallets, that has grown, right? The whale wallets have grown, which could have a ton of reasons. We think it's utility, but yeah, it could also be that just more people are putting stuff on exchanges. It is not true, by the way, that exchanges have only like 195,000 quant left. That's ridiculous because Binance alone has like 1.2 million or some stupid number like that. But they're measuring different wallets or something. I don't know. But yeah, so the number of QNT for rank 1,000 has declined substantially, and the rank 100 has increased substantially, which is interesting because normally distribution happens the other way around. If you look at the Bitcoin, right, the amount of people holding massive amounts of Bitcoin, the amount of Bitcoin that everybody held became lower because other people on the low end, right, on the long tail, they got more, and they bought them obviously from the people up there. But with Quant, you see the opposite. You see we're losing wallets, meaning that from the long tail, all the coins are moving into the short head, if you can use that phrasing, which is usually used for marketing. But that's pretty interesting. And yeah, the amount of holders decreased, and the amount of QNT, like in what the average Joe had, right, somewhere top 1,000 and below that, actually went down. But apparently those QNT didn't go to more average Joes. No, they went into the pockets of the whales, which is pretty cool. Don't you think, Tim?
Yeah, there's just been a redistribution from retail to either institutional parties or users of Overledger. Or simply exchange wallets. At least not private persons, let's put it that way. So retail has exchanged their QNT with companies and whatever. Bigger parties, bigger entities, let's put it that way.
Nils Schild, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, I think it's always hard to really be really sure who's holding what wallet. And so you really have to look at certain profiles and deduct from the movement of coins into certain wallets what might be the holder. But yeah, well, I think the theory is true. I mean, weak hands will sell their quants during the bear market. That's probably what's happening. And those who hold and have the funds and means to buy them, they will accumulate and make the wallets bigger. I mean, that's what probably happened. And I think the reason is that there are more people, or maybe some more opportunistic retail traders or holders who really went to quant, as in not because of the fundamentals, but because of the value or perceived value. They're not really loyal to a certain coin. I think they're just looking at the best entry point and the best exit point. When they sell their stuff, they sell it to those who accumulate. I think that's what's happening. But again, I'm not really a trader, as in what's exactly going on, but that would be my theory. And I think the amount of people who hold stuff is within Quant is just a bigger group, and they're more conservative, and they tend to hold more than sell more stuff. But again, it's my theory.
Thanks. Shield, what do you think?
Sorry, mute button stuck. But
Don't worry.
I think I agree with Niels. Yeah.
Fair
Okay.
enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. So yeah, interesting. Oh, we have a screenshot here. Can I get the screen back, or is that?
Of course, you can.
All right. Can you guys see my screen again, or is that?
We can see your screen. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. It just because back in the day when you took the screen share, it closed mine, but I noticed that my screen share was still on. So
Yo,
apparently,
I gave Zoom the permission to let multiple people share their screen at the same time.
that's what I mean. That's cool. All right. So
We
this
could
was-
do that for a while, but I've never really used that option, honestly, because you are always sharing your screen.
yeah. So this is the screenshot that we took back then on January 2nd. And here you can see that the amount of holders was 152,812. So we lost more actually. Or was this taken later? I can't remember. Oh, we can see here 18,646. This was from June, apparently 152,812. And here you can see 159,000 for the top 100. What was that number now? 17, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the rank 100 in 6 months accumulated over 1,000 QNT, whilst the rank 1,000 lost 30, which is interesting, and we lost since June close to 3K holders then ish, which is also very interesting. We had a lot of these corrections, right? These what we call wallet consolidations, where we think that there were a lot of separate wallets merged into one for whatever reason. Could have just been cells, maybe. We don't know. Speculation galore. So then we go to point 5, the ETF effect. Tim said it's priced in. ETF won't have a direct effect. No, really a pump. It will go for the market, but it will only be a continuation of the trend, which is obviously has been the case, right? There was a little bit of a pump, but then it corrected. So how do you define a pump, right? Is that like months of sustained up? Is that a pump, or is that like anyway? Who gives a fuck?
Well, I think you could say that there was an election Trump being elected pump. I mean, that's what probably pushed BTC above the 100K line.
Or more broadly, an election year. Because
Yeah,
we've been
well,
seeing this
yeah.
in more election years. And sure, I don't deny the fact that there might be correlation with the Trump election. I wouldn't deny that. We just don't know for sure.
No.
The fact is,
Again,
election years have been good for the market, regardless of who actually wins it.
Yeah,
and when you look at for instance, this evening when we're recording this, the 18th of December, is that of course the Fed has lowered their rates, which saw a dump. I just saw a message out of the corner of my eye that Powell, the head of the what is it, SEC or the other institution?
Federal Reserve.
Yeah, Federal Reserve. Yeah, thank you. He said that the Federal Reserve won't be holding Bitcoin as part of the reserves. So, and that probably also had a negative effect on price.
that's so fucking funny to me that there were actually people expecting the Fed to say, "Yeah, like we're gonna hold Bitcoin on our
balance sheet.
On the balance sheet." Yeah, like where the fuck have you been living? I mean, I'm not saying it's never ever going to happen, but it's not ever going to happen.
Well, I think a lot of people expected that with Trump putting his minions in place in certain strategic locations within the government, that would be a more pro-crypto stance. There's an interesting article from Molly White. I don't know if you know her. Probably she's like a very skeptical and critical of the crypto community. She done an article on Bloomberg today, which basically says that with the implementation of certain people, certain pro-crypto people within the government, we're getting to the point that crypto will become an asset which can have an impact on the economy overall. Huh? So her premise is that before the effect of a large dump on crypto with all the FTX stuff and all the stuff which was going on, which put us into the bear market, didn't really have an effect on the global economy as a whole. It only affected those retail people who, well, lost their money, lost their savings within crypto. But when you there's a certain tipping point when you become more dependent on crypto for your overall economy, that will have a more detrimental effect because the whole principle of crypto still is unregulated. It's a wild west. It's pump and dump, etc., etc. So that will have a negative effect on the whole economy. And maybe it's interesting to put that article in the link to check it out. And that's also related to the fact that Bitcoin is so people expect that Bitcoin is starting to become really an asset class on itself, which is of course very ironic because Bitcoin in essence was like the libertarian idea to be peer-to-peer and disconnected from the banking system, and now they need the banks to be an asset class on their own. So basically they're trying to be respected in that way. But again, that's another discussion. But
companies pivot, cryptocurrencies pivot.
Yeah. And this whole libertarian idea of being independent it's not really that. It's all about money anyway. It's all about fiat. So yeah. Which is funny, I guess, in a way.
Heresy, blasphemy. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for that addition. I think that is very, very true and very, very funny.
And is it bad? I mean, there are different ways to look at it. I mean, from the perspective from Quant, as in also a blockchain company, I mean, the acceptance or the use of blockchain in general might be positive price-wise, because if Bitcoin rises, maybe Quant also will rise. So that's that perspective. But in the sense of, continuing an industry which is very non-regulated and gives a lot of space and room for all kinds of criminal schemes, it's a bad thing. And I mean, that's the whole shtick of Quant right now, is that they don't want to be associated with that, and rightly so. But it's really a bit of a, how do you say that, ambiguous relationship with the whole crypto market versus Quant in that sense.
For sure. For sure.
So it will be interesting to see how that all develops in a sense.
Yeah. And I scroll down a little bit in our projections, and what you can see here is the periods when to make money. This was created allegedly in 1875, and this is like the weathered piece of paper. Periods when to make money, with a graph reading a hand and a finger. Maybe for the people listening, it will make some sense with A, B, and C from top to bottom. And then there's years, and zone A is a year in which panics have occurred and will occur again. B is the years of good times, high prices, and the time to sell stocks and values of all kinds. And C is years of hard times, low prices, and good times to buy stocks, corner lots, goods, etc., and hold it till boom, reaches the years of good times, then unload. And what you can see here is that this kind of holds true in a way, right? To an extent, you can see 2007, 2016, 2026 would be the good years. And whilst the bad years would have been 2023, 2012, 2005, 1996. Sorry, those are the hard times. And with the big dumps, you see 1999, 2019, 1981, 1927. So there is some correlation. Obviously, there's a margin of error. But looking at where we see the next good times, high prices, time to sell stocks, that would be 2026, with a little bit of margin, right? So we're on the uptrend from 2023 if you read the graph like this. Which would actually coincide with the business cycle, which is pretty interesting because in 2008, when we had the big shenanigans, right? So that was somewhere here, where everything reset and when everything started to align, right? So the Bitcoin halving, with the business cycle, with the elections, and so on, makes that this still holds true, but maybe even a little bit more volatile, arguably. And yeah, 2016, 2023, that would have been here. I find it really hard to read this. Maybe Nils can or Shield can testify a little bit more to this or explain how to read this, because 2021 was a crypto top, but 2020 was Bitcoin halving, right? So that would have been somewhere here. Then how do I read this?
Yeah. For,
Yeah.
for my feeling, it's not quite correct, but okay. In the sense that the numbers are not adding up with the years, what has been for the past 5 years like that. But maybe I'm speaking behalf of my personal portfolio. Yeah.
No, yeah, I get that, but I think the way you should see this is like all the points A are the high risk big dump periods apparently. So I think it's like two graphs within one graph. So if you look at 2008, this is 1999, 2019. Tim, you wanted to add something?
I mean, it's a model, right? But for some reason, it kind of really aligns. Then there's been a peak at the early 1980s, and I'm not sure if that's one actually correct because, well, I remember the start of the 1980s is not necessarily a good time. But then after that, a period of, well, I'm not sure how to interpret this model exactly, but at least you see that line going down. And the 1980s weren't really the best time, and then in the 1990s, the economy got up again, and that kind of really aligns. And then we had the dot-com bubble in 2000.
Yeah,
Well, 1999 is actually a peak moment here. Then we had
yeah,
the
exactly.
2000s itself, which were
what you see here is the thick line going up to 1999, and then you have the 2001 bubble somewhere here crashing, going down 2005. Was that a low point? Yes, there was a recession here to 2008, 2012.
Well, and there was this peak in 2007, which
Oh yeah,
there was indeed a peak in 2007. After that, we got the financial crisis, Euro crisis, etc.
right.
But
Then it went down
then
again.
stuff went up again. And in fact, after 2010, markets have only gone up. So I'm kind of skeptical how the model works right now. But also, if you look at the past, there's this peak in 1927. Okay, sure, in reality, it was 1929, but that's just 2 years off. Then you have the period of world wars, which
Yeah,
kind
because if you look at here 1927 and this is 1931, so that this line goes down, that stands correct because that is in that time frame, and they advise you here in 1926 to sell because those are the years of high prices, right? So the thin line is when you should sell or buy, right? The mini triangles, and these are the super volatile years: 1924, 1927,
Yes.
1931.
And if you look at volatility, it's probably also the time where you, if you have a bigger risk appetite than usual, you can say, okay, well, I will try to trade the volatility, which never works for me anyhow. But that's the reason why I don't do it. But if you're feeling lucky and you probably have some insight or
Did you join in 2021?
Nah. No, but I mean it's. The model works, but it's also the models, of course, also a reflection on cycles in general, cycles in economy, cycles in centralization versus decentralization, and that's what we see right now. So, for instance, if you look at the banking crisis, the banking crisis. I mean, was the result of high risk choices being made, high products which no one understand that collapsed. what happened was that the regulators, so the ECBs and also in America, put a lot of risk controls on those financial institutions, which dampens, in a way, their risk appetite, which means there are less investments going on. So that means that the economy will contract a bit. And then during the time, banks will get more trust from regulators to be more risk, take more risk in their products, and then investments rise again. So it's always a cycle in how these things work, and
It's
pretty
the everything code.
to reflect that cycle in this picture. And I don't know what the source of this one is, because it's very interesting that, of course, 1927 is the first one, and that's the big, stock market crash.
Samuel Benner?
1875. Is that 1875? Okay.
Yes.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
It's almost conspiracy-like. Sounds
We
too
can
good to be
grant him
true.
a little bit of a margin for error, right, with digital economy and all that shit. But this is pretty interesting that there's like, some.
But yeah, I agree with you. It's interesting, but we also need to always be aware with these kind of models that you can cherry pick them. Many predictions have been made, and with predictions you can always say in hindsight, this was indeed the correct prediction, because
Some
many
predictions
people...
were pretty easy. Who took the first big profits from its ledger for diversification?
I did.
Tim got a house.
Yeah, and that's also quite an interesting story on its own. For some reason, I managed to get my winning bid in at a moment that QNT was actually doing quite well last year. That was more luck than skill. It actually was fully based on luck. So I could actually sell my that part of my portfolio for a reasonable price. And it just meant, in the grand scheme of things, that I didn't have to sell as much QNT as I originally anticipated. So I got really well off. And I'm pretty lucky that everything worked out in the end. But those things, you can't time those things. And especially when you're really big in crypto, in such a volatile market, it is not a very relaxed experience, but I got really lucky at the end. So.
Yeah, and that brings us to a little bit of a word of advice. I mean, in the period since 2021, after we reached all-time high, my portfolio had the value where I was taking screenshots instead of profits. Afterwards, I decided to take some regular lifestyle chips off the table. And in the meantime, I think I took out like maybe like 5-6 times my initial or something like that, but not by taking big chunks out. But whenever I wanted to get something, just get something nice for myself, right? Or get something for the family, or take some vacation, right? I put something in my car, put something in the house, and so on. And that is also a way of DCAing, right? The first 2 years I DCA'd by throwing in money whenever I had it, right? A certain amount at the beginning of the month, at the end of the month, sometimes in between. And that's how I built a portfolio. And the DCA was less rigorous, mostly. The DCA out, just kind of some nice things every now and then, without taking the risk of trying to time tops or bottoms. And I was doing some of my finance, and I realized that that's a really comfortable way, depending on obviously how big your stack is and what your projections are and what your timings and patience, etc. are. But yeah, live a little. And overall, right, taking over like the last maybe 2-3 years, did improve my life and my happiness, even though I've sold a fair amount of QNT. Probably even sold in the long term, maybe even more than Tim did, but just over an extended period of time. Which is obviously fine if that's fine for you. So keep that in mind. And yeah, take profits in the coming year, because yeah, you'll hate yourself for a while if you round trip this motherfucker. Yeah. So then we asked the question, where do we get the first message from Gilbert to the community? And Tim said, yeah, no message at all. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be June. It's going to be developer related. That was wrong. But it was September, and it was because of how do you say? People shitposting on LinkedIn. But
Yeah.
we also got the gateway news back then. So we did get news. We did get Gilbert in chat. And we made an episode about that as well. Does anybody have anything to say about this? Because this was on the...
Yeah, perhaps. Really, at the start of the year, I didn't think Gilbert would return to Telegram. In all honesty, the team has kind of abandoned the platform. So, for example, the main Quant Group is now run by the community. They don't really have any official roles anymore, if I'm correct. I think Gilbert is now simply just a participant in the chat instead of an admin. They've actually given the admin rights to members of the community. So for me, that was...
That's correct.
Yeah, so for me, that was kind of how would you say, indication that they wouldn't really be communicating through Telegram anymore. But apparently Gilbert couldn't resist and still had to return, and he did in September. So yeah, I wasn't correct with this prediction.
We can jump
I
in.
really didn't expect it Saturday.
Yeah, so Saturday, 2:30 CET, Gilbert came into chat and he asked, and I'm just going to read this. Hello all, wanted to see if the person with the following fake accounts... Oh, I should do my British accent. Hello all, wanted to see if the person with the following fake accounts on LinkedIn is here. And then he asks for 3 names. Apparently, they're very upset that I haven't used Telegram or X for a while, and has spent hours posting his same comments on 100 different LinkedIn posts lately. Yeah, so that was the question. With which he entered the chat. And after that, let's see. I haven't timestamped this for some reason. Shit around. Why haven't we timestamped this? Talking about suing Gilbert and saying himself. Who did that? I do talk a lot, don't I? Why they are behaving this way and think that is okay. Claims about there. That was my response to the developer group. And then go Telegram. So I summarized. Well, so I learned this episode. That was really cool. I was speaking so much.
No, we did it together, but you just yap a lot.
Gilbert responded to my, they stated the Yukon network made promises, and he replied with, so yes, the concept of RCGs was explored and tested back then. We had live testing and people helped run those tests to learn from it. It was paused due to regulatory uncertainty, which, when you look back at the time, regulators were taking action against Coinbase, Ripple, staking, lending, learn programs, etc. It was an extremely risky environment, so we had to pause the concept until things were certain. Yeah, and that was also a nice little shit show that we had back then, because everybody was like
kind of scrapped gateways.
Was in a full-on panic. Yeah, purged. Then, but that everything was cancelled because everything got removed from all the social media and so on. Unleashed a hyper decentralized super. But there was never any communications on why they did that, was there? It's one of my favorite Gilbert quotes of all time. I think gateways. This was Gilbert's dream. This aged really well as well, by the way. Where did he say that fucking to the developer group? And then go. Why can't I find that shit? Oh, we got gateways announced by Gilbert, and I'm too impatient to probably find it. After that, but we've kept working on the idea in the background. Oh, yeah. So now, after getting regulatory and legal clarity, we will be introducing different forms of staking and rewards to encourage even more participation on Overledger platform and ecosystem. Some of you noticed changes to the terms and conditions recently. Yeah, so this was Gilbert in chat on Saturday. And so we had something right, in a way. And Tim, obviously, with his pricing things and so on. But this was good. Yeah, and then we have one of the things that were a little bit vague. Well, we get the biggest bomb on legislation, and Tim had no expectations, and I thought by May we'd have USA crypto legislation clarity, which obviously we didn't. I mean, there's more, right, coming, more clarity coming, but it is not there yet, right? Micah is really fucking close. I think today is actually the day. Is it today the 15th?
It's already been the 15th. It's the 18th.
18th already. Yeah. So didn't Micah go into effect in a way? Didn't Coinbase stop with USDT?
I don't know. I have to Google that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's skip that because we're on this for way too long already. And then we had this first household name partner announcement, and Tim thought it would be City. I thought it'd be Finality. We were both wrong. And then we have the SET-P gateway release. Tim said 2025. I thought H1, RCG staking and announcement team. I was off by a couple of months, at least by the staking announcement, but no SET-P so far. Yeah, we added this in June, I think, right? In summary, from the working group last call to the publication of an official IETF standard. The process typically takes around 4 to 6 months. Can provide depending on various factors, blah blah blah. Oh yeah, and then bonus price 260 end of H1 all-time high for 3220. End of year 3250 TQS subs 3500. Yeah, we were wrong on all this shit. So we zapped through that because it is all a little bit yeah.
Mike, to get back to you, Micah or Mycar,
Yeah.
MICAR,
Yeah.
goes into effect on the 13th of December.
Yeah,
So in 12 days it's going. So
yeah,
we publish tomorrow. So in 11 days it will go into effect.
yeah, but there is this other thing that is because some points of
I'm sure there's this other thing talked about a lot.
yeah, okay. There's a phased rollout of this regulation, and
yeah, that's true.
That's why. Fuck off with your goddamn cookies. Fucking carb shoving in my face, bastards. So there was this, and to the list that is USDT. I thought that went into effect on December 15th or some shit like that because Coinbase Thursday 12/12/2024.
I'm pretty sure Mycar enters effect at the 13th of December. Here, can I share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
And then let's not waste too much time on this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, me. Oh, yeah, okay. Okay. I need to check if it's not on my personal. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't want to dox myself. She might.
Yeah.
Well, I'm already doxed, but like not dox my. So here, it's in short. Well, effective from the 30th of June, and the first part of micro up. That's the 30th of June, but I'm sure it said somewhere that it's on the 30th of December.
Yeah. There's another part going live then, but you have the stablecoin act or some shit like that, and that was going into effect. I think half December.
Yeah. Oh, here. Here, at least entered first 29th of June, and will apply from the 30th of December. So in a couple of days, it will actually fully apply. And let's stick it with that. continue because we're wasting time on this.
Sure.
You haven't shared your screen yet?
I know.
Okay.
I know. Blast from the past.
Landen, but it
This
is Quamfy the Lowlands.
Yeah, we're the Quamfy Lowlanders, as you could say.
We're gonna.
This was for the people that are like, what the fuck am I looking at? This was the first English episode, the English pilot. This was where Tim announced he was quant updates, I think, from Instagram. But we did it in Dutch, and we called it Quamfy in de Lage Landen, which is Quamfy in the Lowlands, which is what people call the Dutch lowlanders or some shit like that. But that was before we pivoted to the Quamfy Show.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm going first. I'm Tim. I'm running quant updates. This is my face reveal.
Dogs.
Yeah, I'm doxed. Yeah. I hope you don't chase my kneecaps once the price drops. No, and I'm doing this together with
Jarno. Yeah.
Jarno. Yeah.
I have no secondary job beside being a Quamfy Lounge admin. This is going to be our little English venting spot.
Yeah, so we came a long way, graphics wise, audio wise. Since then, I was back then still wearing tank tops like 90% of the time, behind a standing desk, running around like a headless chicken. But yeah, my face got old and I got old. And I would do everything sitting down. Everybody's so quiet. Shield, Nils, you guys still there? You guys still alive?
Yeah, we are.
Right?
Did we finish all the predictions?
We did? Yeah.
Oh no, we did. Okay.
Yeah, well,
fair enough.
there was one prediction with regard to the ZP process, and I was just that's the reason why I was a bit quiet. I was checking out the current status on the ZP working group within the IETF.
Yeah.
Well, funny thing is that yesterday a new version of the draft document was being published. So, and it's very interesting if you look at the state right now of the document. And just to summarize, if something becomes an ITF standard, it has to go to a certain process, and that process it has a large number of steps and statuses it can have. And right now, the document or the document and the standard is in a working group state. So basically, the working group, where Thomas Harjano, Martin Hargraves, and a lot of other people are busy making ZP a standard, is now in a document state. And the next phase for becoming an official document has been now set in July 2025. So that's something to take into consideration. So that also means that my prediction on the ratification of this standard is way off, because the next step is only in July, which means that the steps after that, which is basically another round of comments to make this a real standard, is planned for after July. And that can either be very quickly when there are no comments, or it's really a large process because a lot of people have comments on that, and it takes a lot of time to make it a real standard.
I thought they were in that phase already.
No, I also thought that, but that's like the comment phase to only the architecture document by the working group, and then the next step is creating really a published standard, and that's the phase after you have a working group. That's basically what it's about, and it's pretty hard to really have a sort of a high-level overview on what steps you have to take to become from an ID to an actual RFC to be or standard. But they're on the right track, I guess, but it's not something which is done in the coming months, so it will probably take some longer than that. But I mean, the positive thing is there's still progress on it, so that's something we do.
I feel an aluminium hat coming on, and I think the Chainlink Swift motherfuckers are making up all these stupid questions and all these debates and things to stretch it out so they can sell more tokens, so that Quant is being sabotaged in that way.
Could very well be. Yeah, I mean, that could be. I mean, it's not uncommon for
It's on his phone again.
yeah, for providers or maybe vendors from, for instance, hardware or something to try to how do you say that, slow down the process to gain an advantage on some way. I mean, you won't read it black and white, but it could be a strategy.
But you need to ask really good questions if you want to actually
Yeah.
postpone something like this. So technically, their intention could be sabotage, right? This is not happening, right? This is just me just taking the piss. But let's say somebody wanted to do that and actually stagnate the development of a standard like this. The only way to really do that is by asking critical questions to actually address relevant problems, so that the people actually think about it, which then might postpone the implementation of said standard, but as a result will make the product better, and that will still be a competing product, probably, definitely, maybe, probably, to yours.
Maybe. I mean, there was some discussion with this guy from Finality or the other.
The other company.
Yeah, and there was some traffic back and forth, but I think in the end he basically capitulated. I don't know if that's the exact term. And just went ahead with the original IDs that Harjono and Hargraves had on the standard. So
there was this guy who was part of the project, said be like way in the fucking beginning or something with his company, and then they got booted, and now he had some critical questions and wanted to reinvent the wheel with and give oxygen to Link and some other product. I don't know, but let's not dive too deep into into these types of shenanigans. So what you're saying is no guarantees until the end of 2025.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and
I'm so glad I'm not doing the Quamfy Show anymore by then. When gateways.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, it could be decided that the gateways will be earlier, and basically say, okay, we are going to implement these gateways based on a sort of a draft standard, and we just take a risk that those standards will change, and we have to change the gateway handling accordingly. So basically, ship something which might not be 100% compliant to the standard, but just take the risk to do it because the market is asking for it. I mean, that's the other thing. This standard is used to get the financial world in the next steps in getting more products more quickly. Well, all the things you need to be more modern than it is right now. So that's
and you can't rush stuff like this, right? If there's any way, shape, or form of a possibility of a leak or something like that, that would be so catastrophic.
Yeah,
it's I mean the TCP/IP example, right? Imagine that the fucking internet protocol was actually even more flawed than it is now. Well, the protocol is not flawed, but right, that would have been disastrous if everybody is on there and everything is going and there's like this crazy ass backdoor or something, or anything else like that, which is
I mean, if you talk about that, I mean, within and I have to make sure I'm not going into the whole technical stuff again, but especially when you talk about financial systems, it needs to be 100%, like 99% correct is still 100% wrong. That's basically what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
And these systems are like the bowels of the financial system. These need to be correct. There's no margin for error. So you can't have rounding errors or whatever. So and that takes time, yes, and yeah, that will
Yeah.
yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. It's just a sobering conclusion for us that even after all those years that we recorded the Quamfy Show, we still don't know when gateways. But yeah, I fully agree with you that this needs to be done correctly. That they cannot release a product that's not finished because that will create a mess, and we don't really want that.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't
I
rush
mean,
this
and
stuff.
that's also the argument why I think that the projects like Link or whatever, in the end won't be the product which is the foundation of the financial world, because it's even worse with those projects. I mean, there are a bunch of developers with a sort of a company which is not founded or related to the financial world. But I mean, I haven't looked into the CV of the Sergey guy from Link, but I do know that Gilbert comes from.
Sergey?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I do know that Gilbert comes from a world where who's pretty much founded with MasterCard, with all the other stuff he's done. And you have to realize that in that world, I mean, how do you say that in Dutch? They say, yeah, they do it with each other, and that's the same thing, you know. Those guys do it with each other. They don't do it with an open source stuff. It's not happening. So you either have to have a really an excellent product, which is so disrupting that even the most conservative bank in the world has to use it, because if they don't, they will miss out. But in the case of Link, that's not the case. So I don't think we have to worry on the long term that they will be a competitor for Quant. But the trade-off is that it takes a long time, and yeah, that's of course for your common trader Joe within the crypto world. That's an issue because they want to see profits tomorrow and not in next year. So that's the thing.
Right. I agree. Hey, we're in this for a while, for years, to be exact. We ran through most of the programming that we had for today. The Quamfy Show created 260 episodes. With this one, I think it's 261 over 3 years. And we're calling it from this point on. Perhaps, right, when we reach certain milestones, maybe gateways, maybe all-time high, maybe 1,000, maybe 10,000 from our yacht.
Or maybe earlier than that.
Or maybe sooner.
Us.
We'll see. But for now, we're going on an indefinite retirement from the Quamfy Show. Before I give the word to other people, I want to thank you guys so much for the support. We will leave the YouTube up from mid-February. We will terminate the podcast. There's just such a discrepancy between costs and benefits that will be scrapped. The website, we will keep up until gateways come. Then I will scrap the website probably and build my gateway on that VPS. Cost-wise, that's also not breaking what it should be. And we're not updating it. And I know Shield is also very busy. So thank you so much for all the support. Leave a like, leave a comment. Shield, Nils, Tim, thank you guys so much for the past 3 years. For all the help, for being there last minute when I needed some feedback or needed something created. Means the world. And maybe till next one. Tim, Nils, Shield, anything to add?
Yeah, what can I say? It's been an absolute blast to do this with you the past 3 years, and we just went through so many moments together, ups and downs, mostly downs, to be fair. And we could always use this show as like a venting spot and just discuss what's going on. And That was very useful for me personally, but also for the community, I think. And we really made a very nice contribution to everything that's considered Quamfy content. So I think we did a really good job together. And it's really weird also to meet up with some listeners around the world. That when you're in Ireland and there's someone suddenly a listener and you're together in a pub drinking 6 hours long. Those are things that you will
I
always
actually got almost
always
pulled into a
remember.
car when I was in Scotland.
Exactly. Those kind of moments, you will always remember them. And that's also the reason for me to not fully stop this project. We will be back at some point in some shape or form. This will definitely be, for me personally, not be the last episodes. But for now, it's been a blast to do this with you guys. And I want to thank every single one of you, both you on the production side and both you listeners, because, well, it's been an amazing experience. And it's my first real example of using this radio voice. Everyone told me you need to do something with it. Well, I actually have my own podcast. Did it for a couple of years. So it's my first kind of experience. Maybe I'll do something else with it. But it's my first step. So thank you so much. And let's see each other at the golf course eventually. Niels, do you have
Well,
anything
again,
to add?
well, what can I say? I've been a listener for the show from the beginning. Also a community member. So many thanks for all the hours you put into this, all the background info, all the efforts you put behind the scenes to create 1 hour, 1.5 hour of really valuable insights into Quant each week in Dutch and English. That's very important and great. And again, very glad to be part of this for a few episodes and to share my knowledge. And I try to do that also within the community. So yeah, that's it, I guess.
And
Thank
then
you.
pretty briefly, Shield before his laptop dies.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for making the content you made, and it was a fun ride. I enjoyed it.
Well,
Thank you for having been part of our team. Now you can, well, you can leave us if you want. Your laptop can die in peace now. At least
stay Quamfy.
you put that in. Stay Quamfy. Thank you so much, and we'll eventually see you again on the golf course, preferably. Stay Quamfy.